Okay, so today I have one video for you, and it's unclear where in the process this bill is exactly, but it's Texas, so you know it's gonna pass. And the bill is Texas legislature bans transgender people from public bathrooms, which, given the legislature and the governor, that should come as zero surprise to absolutely anyone. So let's just continue with the article. And this is I'm taking this from The Advocate, but it was originally reported on a publication called The 19th, which The Advocate has taken reporting from that publication before. I have never heard of it, so. Texas is poised to become the latest state to bar transgender people from using public bathrooms after the Senate passed a bill late Wednesday night that also bans transgender people from using locker rooms or being incarcerated in facilities that align with their genders. Now, I've mentioned many times on this channel why each and every one of those is dangerous. Not the least of which the jails. I mean, putting someone who identifies as a woman in a man's prison, not going to end well for the trans woman. Just not. And a trans man being put in a woman's prison? Yeah, I'm not sure how that helps anyone, because the women in that prison will feel uncomfortable, for one thing, because as far as they can tell, there's a man in their prison. And, let's face it, if you've ever seen, like, female gang members or women who are hardcore, they are actually scarier than men. So, this is not good for trans people at all. So, okay, let's continue. The bill, which Republican Governor Greg Abbott is expected to sign, there's a shock, is the latest in a slew of anti-trans measures passed in the state, and the most recent anti-trans bathroom bill passed by state in recent years. 19 states already have some form of a transgender bathroom ban, and Texas has weighed more than 16 such bans over the past decade. The bill sets a $25,000 fine for any government agency or public institution, such as a school or university, which violates a policy, and a $125,000 fine for a second offense. The fines make it the most financially punitive bathroom bill in the nation, according to the Texas Tribune. Emmett Schelling, executive director of the Transgender Education Network of Texas, said in a statement that he was devastated to see this atrocious legislation pass. You might be devastated, but should you be surprised? I mean, look at the makeup of the Texas legislature. This shouldn't shock anybody. Make no mistake, trans people have always and will always survive, Schelling said. They can try as hard as they want. Nobody will ever shatter the trans community or take away our deeply and innate understanding of who we genuinely are. We know exactly who we are, and we will continue to fight for a better Texas, a better home for us all. Now, that's something that transphobes in general do not understand. They act as if trans people just started existing when they heard about these trans athletes or these bathroom bills. They think that trans people just popped into existence. They've always existed. Actually, Pride wouldn't exist if it weren't for trans people, because the two people who led the Stonewall riots were both trans people of color. So, yeah, trans people have always existed. And another thing that these transphobes do not understand, these bigots don't understand, is that you probably actually have used a bathroom or a locker room or walked past someone who's trans and just didn't know it, because in their minds, it is absolutely obvious who is trans, because they think it is an obvious man, maybe wearing a wig, fake boobs maybe, going into the women's bathroom. I have no clue if they even are aware that trans men exist, let alone what they think trans men look like, because it's just absolutely ridiculous. Mo Jenkins, Chief of Staff for Representative Laura Simmons, said the consequences of the law will not be theoretical but brutal and deadly. When innocent people are harassed, beaten, or killed because of the fear and misinformation you are choosing to codify into law, their blood will not just be on the hands of their attackers, it will be in this chamber, said Jenkins, who is a black trans woman. And she's not just talking about trans people. She is talking about people who maybe they're androgynous, or they might have certain features that someone decides must mean that they're trans. Like I pointed out in a previous video of this girl who looked boyish and went into the women's bathroom because she is literally a woman, and was accosted simply because the employee thought that she isn't a woman because, I don't know, the hair or what. I have no idea what gave this employee the idea that she isn't a woman. But she decided she isn't, and she made her cup her breasts through cloth, but still cup her breasts to show that she is a woman. Those people are going to be in danger, because all it takes is one asshole to decide that you aren't who you say you are. And you know, that will screw up your life. Now, I mean, I've had trolls mostly accuse me of being trans because, I don't know, they're just trying to be assholes. Because if they think I'm trans, that somehow I'll be offended. I'm just very confused why they think I'm trans. Because I'm fat? Because I'm ugly? And again, like I've mentioned many times when I do this self-deprecation, no, I am not hunting for compliments. No. But seriously, why do people, just because I happen to be an ally? I honestly have no clue where this comes from. Or because I just happen to, be a woman with an opinion. It could be anything. It could be all of the above. I have no clue. But if they were someone in power, which thank God they aren't, But if they were someone in power, that could screw up my life because I would be treated differently. I would be, I could be accosted physically. Um, all sorts of bad things could happen to me. I could get arrested simply for existing. Even though, you know, you could look on my birth certificate, which is original. I am a girl. I am a woman, was always a woman. Well, always female. So, yeah. I'm not sure, you know, I don't understand why people feel the need to play gotcha or play transvestigator because I don't know, they're afraid that they might actually find a trans woman hot, or they just want to feel good about themselves that they know that someone is trans because then they don't get tricked. Seriously, I have zero understanding of why people even do this, let alone peg me as a trans person. Anyway, the measure aims to prevent Texas prisons from housing transgender detainees in alignment with their gender, a rule that could violate the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act, which requires prisons and jails to place trans people where they believe they will be safest. It is unclear yet if advocates will challenge the bill in court once it becomes law. I think it's pretty clear. I'm pretty sure they're going to challenge it because what the hell do you think is going to happen when there's a trans woman in a men's prison? Because I'm not sure where you get the idea that she wouldn't get raped. I mean, what the hell? What do you expect to happen? Or maybe that's the point. Maybe they want that to happen. I wouldn't put it past these horrible people to actually want trans women to get raped because they, I don't know, think that that'll make them realize that they aren't women and that they should live life as men. I honestly have no clue. I never understood corrective rape. That never made any sense to me. About a quarter of transgender people, 26%, live in states that have some form of a bathroom ban. Transgender advocates argue that such laws fail in the aim to increase safety and instead expose transgender people to increased harassment and violence. Which I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't the point. They also point out that they are hard to enforce, relying on individuals to discern who is and is not transgender. And again, because I've had plenty of people in the comments asking me if I'm trans or assuming I'm trans or whatever. So we know that these people seem to have this idea in their heads on what is a woman, what is a man, and if you deviate even a little bit, they're going to peg you as trans. I mean, these transvestigators, which I really, really hope the transvestigator who did this wasn't really a transvestigator and was actually clowning on transvestigators, because they managed to figure out that J.K. Rowling, the queen of the transphobes right now, is herself trans. I cannot remember the reason that was given, but she was pegged as trans, which shows you just the absurdity of this whole transvestigation thing. because yes, women might have certain attributes that could be attributed to men, and men could have certain attributes that can be attributed to women. But that does not make them trans. That just means that, some men have feminine characteristics and some women have masculine characteristics. I've known women who have low voices. When I was in junior high and I was in choir, I was dubbed an alto. Now, many altos have lower voices than male tenors. So, okay, so that means there are women out there who have lower voices than certain men. By certain investigators, that would make certain women to be trans men, or I should say trans women, because obviously if you have a low voice, you must have been born a man, because it's not like hormones would change the register of one's voice or anything. And same thing with male tenors, that they must be trans men, born women, simply because they have higher voices. Which, again, not a thing. There are just men out there who have high voices and women who have slightly lower voices. Doesn't tell you shit. Just some women are like that. We wouldn't have a category for women's voices being alto or men's voices being tenor if that was unusual and only trans people had that. So, anyway, that is the end of that article. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to add. I don't believe so. I think I covered everything I wanted to. And a lot of this is rehashing, like I said, viewpoints that I've expressed before. Because, let's face it, banning trans people from the bathroom is the in thing right now. Another in thing, which I did not cover, is the DOJ wanting to ban trans people from owning guns because of the most recent shooting, which, oddly enough, they don't do that for the mentally ill, even though they claim that all school shooters are mentally ill. They do not, they have not attempted to do that, or they said that they're going to improve mental health care. Nope, Republicans don't give a shit. So they don't do that. Let's see. Like I've said, most school shooters are cis men. And if you don't like the term cis, well, I'm sorry you don't like science, because that is a scientific term. It just means same. Cool your jets. Why are we getting upset over cis? It just means the opposite of trans. I'm not sure why people are freaking out over it. Anyway, so we're not doing anything to regulate guns for pretty much anybody, but trans people, yes, let's regulate their ability to get a gun, because it's not like they're a vulnerable community who could possibly need a gun for protection or anything. No, let's just ban guns from trans people. But we're not going to make that same designation for any other group, even if they're a group that deserves it. We're going to either be nuanced with it or ignore it altogether. But trans people, oh no, They're dangerous. We've got to do something about it. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.